Ready to speak English better? Welcome to Lingo Daily. A relaxing day at the cafe. This morning, as my eyelids slowly fluttered open, a slight weariness still clung to me, like a thin mist in my mind. Yet, there was a bubbling thrill in my chest, a small resolution to escape, even for a moment, the seemingly endless demands of the week. I decided to dedicate this morning to myself by visiting my favorite cafe tucked away not far from my apartment. The first step through the cafe's doorway was like entering another world. A warm wave of freshly brewed coffee immediately washed over me, embracing my senses with a deep, familiar comfort. It wasn't just the ordinary smell of coffee. It was a complex blend of rich espresso, the sweet hint of toasted caramel syrup, and a subtle earthy note from roasted beans. The aroma instantly banished any lingering sleepiness, replacing it with a sense of cozy familiarity. My eyes swept across the entire room. The cafe looked just as comfortable and inviting as ever, an oasis in the heart of a city. The walls were adorned with calming abstract paintings and bookshelves overflowing with classic novels, hinting that this place was more than just a coffee shop. Soft morning light streamed in from the large windows, illuminating the dark wooden tables and the richly upholstered chairs that looked so plush, making every corner of the room appear warm and unpretentious. From hidden speakers in a corner, gentle jazz music flowed, filling the air with soft, soul-soothing melodies. The melodic sound of a saxophone blended harmoniously with the murmur of conversations from people enjoying their morning drinks. I could distinguish crisp laughter, whispered secrets, and the gentle clinking of porcelain cups against their saucers. All of it created a symphony of vibrant yet relaxed morning life. Every element, from the soft cushions on the sofas to the fresh flower vase on each table, seemed deliberately placed to invite every visitor to linger, to sink into a moment of calm. I walked towards the counter, a faint smile on my lips as I spotted the friendly barista who always worked the morning shift. He had charming curly hair and a consistently genuine smile. What was most amazing was his uncanny ability to remember my favorite order, even if my visits were sporadic. My usual choice often came to mind, but today, a distinct craving for something a little different guided my thoughts towards a medium caramel latte. I particularly loved how the rich sweetness of caramel perfectly melded with the smooth, bitter notes of espresso, creating a taste harmony that pampered the palate. My gaze then drifted to the glass display case, showcasing various pastries and cakes. My eyes landed on a blueberry muffin that looked as if it had just come out of the oven, its surface golden and bright blue bursts of blueberries clearly visible. A silent decision was made. It would be the perfect companion for my morning coffee, an irresistible treat. While waiting for my order, my eyes scanned the room. Several familiar faces were engrossed in their laptops, fingers dancing across keyboards with deep focus. There was also a pair of old friends seemingly lost in serious conversation, their hand gestures occasionally emphasizing important points. A small family was bustling with laughter and light chatter, while a middle-aged man in the corner read a newspaper intently, occasionally sipping his coffee. This cafe was a microcosm, a snapshot of various lives converging in the tranquility of a morning. With my medium caramel latte and the irresistible blueberry muffin carefully balanced in hand, I navigated through the gentle ebb and flow of morning patrons. My eyes scanned the room for that perfect spot, and soon I found it, a small, inviting table nestled right by the large window overlooking the bustling street outside. It was precisely what I needed, a vantage point that offered both a sense of connection to the world and a quiet cocoon for reflection. The chair was surprisingly comfortable, and as I settled in, the warmth from my latte seeped pleasantly into my fingers, a comforting weight. Taking a moment, I inhaled the sweet, creamy aroma rising from my cup, a prelude to the first sip. The rich sweetness of the caramel, perfectly balanced by the robust bitterness of the espresso, coated my tongue in a velvety wave. It was an exquisite sensation, each layer of flavor unfolding delicately, soothing my senses and melting away the last vestiges of morning grogginess. Then, I turned my attention to the muffin. It was everything I had hoped for and more, sweet but not cloyingly so, with soft pockets of dough giving way to bursts of fresh, juicy blueberries in every bite. The faint crunch of the golden brown crust added another delightful texture. This simple combination of coffee and pastry felt like a small, perfect rebellion against the usual rush of my mornings. As I savored each mouthful, my gaze drifted to the world beyond the window. People hurried past, a kaleidoscope of faces and purposes. Some were clearly rushing to work, briefcases clutched tight, expressions etched with determination. Others strolled with no particular destination, perhaps enjoying their own moments of leisure, or simply observing the city wake up around them. A young couple walked hand in hand, laughing softly. A lone figure walked by engrossed in a phone call, completely oblivious to their surroundings. It was fascinating to watch these fleeting glimpses into other lives, a silent movie playing out before me. The cafe's ambience inside was the perfect counterpoint to the city's hum. It wasn't too noisy. The soft jazz and gentle chatter created a pleasant background hum rather than an intrusive din. Yet it was buzzing just enough to keep the mood light and cheerful, preventing any feeling of isolation. It was an ideal escape from my hectic schedule, a sanctuary where the relentless ticking of the clock seemed to slow down, if only for a little while. Here, surrounded by the quiet symphony of the cafe, I could finally breathe. My mind, once clouded with to-do lists and impending deadlines, began to clear. This little break truly felt like a breath of fresh air, a much-needed opportunity to recharge both my body and my mind. I started thinking about the week that had just passed, a blur of meetings, urgent emails, and tasks that seemed to multiply faster than I could complete them. There were so many deadlines pressing down that sometimes I barely had a moment to catch my breath, let alone truly think. The thought of it made me sigh, but the peaceful atmosphere of the cafe quickly brought me back to the present moment. Then, my thoughts drifted to the upcoming weekend. I hadn't made any solid plans yet, which was unusual for me. Usually, my weekends were as meticulously scheduled as my weekdays. But today, the idea of an unplanned weekend felt liberating. What would I do? The image of going hiking suddenly popped into my head. I pictured the crisp, clean air filling my lungs, the gentle rustling of leaves underfoot, and the serene feeling of being completely surrounded by nature, away from all the concrete and noise. It felt like the perfect way to relax and reset after such a relentlessly hectic week. The thought brought a genuine smile to my face. As I continued to savor the remaining sips of my latte and the last delicious crumb of the muffin, a subtle memory surfaced in my mind. It was the cafe's seasonal pumpkin spice latte, a drink often lauded this time of year for its perfect blend of warm, inviting spices that truly encapsulated the essence of autumn. I had never tried it before, usually preferring the familiar comfort of my caramel latte. However, a quiet spark of curiosity now ignited within me. The mere thought of sweet cinnamon and nutmeg flavors dancing harmoniously with rich coffee felt utterly enticing. A silent promise formed to venture beyond my usual choice on a subsequent visit, adding a new layer of pleasant anticipation to future mornings spent here. Just as this new desire began to solidify in my thoughts, a familiar figure appeared at the cafe's entrance, a welcome splash of vibrant energy against the cozy backdrop. It was Sarah, a friend whose presence had been missed for several weeks. Her gaze swept across the room with a hopeful glint, quickly settling upon my table. A wide, genuine smile immediately blossomed on her face, signaling recognition and delight. I returned her gesture with a silent wave, a heartfelt warmth spreading through me at the unexpected sight of my friend. Sarah expertly navigated the space between tables and patrons, her movements fluid and purposeful. Without a word exchanged, a mutual understanding passed between us, and the empty chair opposite mine was instinctively offered. Sarah settled in with a contented sigh, placing her substantial tote bag beside her. She caught the eye of a passing barista, silently conveying her simple order for a black coffee, then turned her full attention back to me. A palpable sense of ease settled over our shared space, a comfortable silence preceding the natural flow of connection. I noted Sarah's visibly relaxed demeanor, a stark contrast to the weekday rush that typically defined our lives. An effortless conversation soon unfolded between us, characteristic of a bond forged through shared experiences and deep understanding. We each internally acknowledged the relentless demands of our respective professional lives, a blur of demanding clients, unending meetings, and the constant, almost impossible, juggle of deadlines. There was a shared, unspoken weariness about the sheer intensity of it all, the feeling of running on fumes that often accompanied our work weeks. I reflected internally on my own decision to seek refuge in the cafe that morning, a deliberate act to simply pause the relentless pace. A brief, comfortable silence descended, filled only by the soft background hum of the cafe, as the shared understanding of our busy lives hung unspoken in the air. I observed Sarah as she received her freshly delivered black coffee, its rich aroma now joining the symphony of scents that enveloped us. The simple act of sitting together, a warm drink in hand, brought a profound sense of relief, melting away the stress, if only for a precious hour. We both inwardly chuckled at the universal, ongoing challenge of maintaining a healthy balance between professional obligations and personal well-being, an endeavor we knew firsthand could be exceedingly difficult. Our unspoken conversation flowed easily from work anecdotes to shared memories, lighthearted dreams, and upcoming plans. The cafe, with its gentle rhythm and soft, warm light, continued its soft, unobtrusive hum, forming the perfect, comforting backdrop for our impromptu reunion. A profound sense of gratitude filled me. This peaceful interlude, a simple convergence of a hot drink, delicious food, the cozy ambience of the cafe, and most importantly, the easy companionship of a dear friend, felt like an unexpected blessing. This spontaneous connection amplified the magic of the morning, transforming what began as a solitary escape into a shared, truly cherished memory. The cafe continued its gentle, lively hum around us as my friend and I shared stories and silent moments of connection. Time seemed to stretch and contract in the most delightful way, quiet reflections intermingling with bursts of shared amusement. The rich aroma of coffee and baked goods remained a comforting presence, wrapping around our unspoken conversation like a warm blanket. I felt a deep sense of gratitude for this peaceful interlude, appreciating the simple joys that composed it, a hot drink warming my hands, the lingering taste of a delicious treat, the friendly faces of fellow patrons, and most importantly, the calm, inviting atmosphere of my beloved cafe. This unexpected companionship had transformed a solitary escape into a shared, truly cherished memory. Before long, the gentle march of time indicated that this cherished moment was drawing to a close. Other commitments beckoned, subtly pulling us back towards the rhythm of the outside world. There was no rush, no abrupt departure, but a natural winding down as our cups emptied and the last crumbs of the muffin disappeared. A quiet understanding passed between us, a silent acknowledgement of the value of this shared interlude. I gathered my belongings slowly, lingering for a final glance at the cozy nook by the window that had offered such a perfect sanctuary. Stepping back outside, the city's sounds, once muffled by the cafe's walls, returned with a gentle rush. The crisp morning air, now slightly warmer with the advancing day, felt invigorating. A profound sense of refreshment washed over me. The earlier weariness had vanished, replaced by a clear mind and a noticeable lightness in my steps. The brief escape had done its work, acting as a powerful balm for the previous week's stresses. I felt entirely ready to face the remainder of my day, imbued with a renewed sense of energy and a more optimistic outlook. As I walked away, a quiet smile played on my lips. Thoughts of my next visit already began to form, perhaps a deliberate trip to finally try that seasonal pumpkin spice latte. The anticipation of sweet cinnamon and nutmeg flavors blending with coffee now felt even more enticing. The morning had served as a powerful reminder that sometimes All that's truly needed is a small, intentional break, a perfectly brewed cup of coffee, and the simple joy of companionship to lift one's spirits and deeply recharge the soul. The experience reaffirmed the importance of carving out such moments, proving that even short escapes could yield profound peace and renewed vitality. It was a testament to the power of small pleasures and unexpected connections in the midst of a demanding life. The revitalizing effects of that morning at the cafe lingered long after I had stepped back into the bustling rhythm of the city. The clarity of mind I had gained felt like a fresh breeze, sweeping away the cobwebs of stress that often accumulated during a demanding week. Each step I took felt lighter, imbued with a newfound sense of purpose and calm that extended beyond the simple act of getting coffee. It wasn't merely a break from routine, it had been a profound recalibration. As the day unfolded, I found myself approaching tasks with a renewed focus and a calmer demeanor. The memory of the cafe's cozy ambience, the soft jazz, the gentle clinking of cups, the warm light, became a quiet internal sanctuary I could revisit mentally. Even minor frustrations that might typically escalate into irritation seemed to dissolve against the backdrop of that serene morning. It was a subtle but significant shift in my perspective, a tangible proof that investing in moments of peace could truly alter the entire trajectory of a day. That evening, as I wound down from the day's activities, my thoughts inevitably returned to the cafe and the unexpected reunion with Sarah. The conversation, though brief and unspoken in the narrative, had resonated deeply, reinforcing the importance of human connection amidst the relentless pace of modern life. We often get so caught up in our individual pursuits that we forget to nurture the relationships that bring us joy and solace. This morning had been a vivid reminder to cherish those bonds, to actively seek out moments for genuine interaction rather than letting them happen purely by chance. The idea of the weekend, once a vague concept, now shimmered with a more defined allure. The thought of hiking that had briefly surfaced in the cafe solidified into a firm plan. I began to visualize the specific trails, the feel of the earth beneath my feet, the cool shade of trees, and the expansive views from a summit. This activity, a direct counterpoint to the confined, fast-paced environment of my workweek, felt like the perfect continuation of the morning's restorative theme. It was an embrace of nature, a deliberate act of disconnecting from digital noise and reconnecting with something more fundamental and grounding. The very anticipation of it brought a quiet hum of excitement. Beyond the immediate plans, the cafe visit instilled a deeper awareness of the need for work-life balance. It was no longer just a concept I vaguely aspired to, but a tangible necessity. The clear mental space I had experienced highlighted how much I truly needed these pockets of calm to maintain my well-being and productivity. I began to consider how I could integrate more such moments into my regular schedule, perhaps dedicating a specific time each week for similar quiet escape, or being more proactive in reaching out to friends for impromptu catch-ups. It was about creating small, sustainable rituals of self-care, rather than waiting for exhaustion to force a break. The lingering scent of coffee, the imagined taste of that yet-to-be-tried pumpkin spice latte, and the warmth of shared laughter continued to resonate. It wasn't just a single morning anymore. It was a blueprint for a more balanced, more intentional way of living. I realized the profound impact small, deliberate acts of self-care could have, serving not as mere indulgences, but as essential investments in my overall mental and emotional health. The cafe, once just a favorite spot, had become a symbol of this newfound clarity, a tangible reminder to pause, breathe, and reconnect with what truly mattered.